already know, Sly K Loco with another episode of CannaConvos. Bow, 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 bow. Today we have A&M, Ashley from A&M Apothecary. Sorry, it's so hard to do that word. Here we go. Let's get her in here. Bam, 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 bam. Pippin since Pippin been Pippin. That's how long Defiant has been Pippin. Hey, how's it going?
Oh,
All right, cool. Got you right here. How's it going? Is it Matthew and Ashley, right?
yeah,
All right,
that's us.
cool. I was doing a little bit of research before, a little bit short notice research, but it was research. And I see that you guys, for those who don't know, the new growers and everybody out there, if you guys don't know, this is A&M Apothecary?
Apothecary, yes.
Correct.
Apothecary, right? Okay, so you guys have been growing for a couple of years now, and they're killing it out there on the festivals, right? You guys have been doing a lot of festivals?
CannaConvos as often as we can. They do them about every 3 months here. It's a real good time.
3 months. You guys are lucky, man. I still haven't. Well, we'll get into that here in a second. But everybody out there, let's send this out to a little bit more people. That way everybody can come and tap in. Do you guys have anybody that you wanted to send this account out to? Like any of your followers?
Actually, we got two. One, his brother, sealed solventless.
Okay.
7-1,
Yep. And Lockhart Farms.
they're
Nice.
live soil, and he's awesome. And
Cool.
solventless actually has been growing for over 10 years, and he does all his stuff without any butane or ethanol. He does a slow cure, and he's actually who we just admire him. You know, he's been doing it for so long. He knows what he's doing, and hope one day we'll get there.
Yeah, so I was looking on your thing. I wanted to start off with like, where did you come up with the name of your guys' brand?
Okay, that was me. I'm kind of an old soul, and I really I love, I guess, just anything natural. And
Okay.
apothecary is what you'd call a pharmacist or a chemist back in the old days. It also means the store in which you would go to buy it. So I kind of love the flexibility of it, but I also just love that they were one of the first. There's people who put together plants and started making salves and medicine for people, and that's where I got into this, because he was smoking. I mean, I did when I was a teenager, but he was smoking before I was, and I actually had health problems, and that's when I got into cannabis and started really researching it. I was like, you know what, this is a miracle, man. It's really nothing it can't do, and I can't.
Yeah, the miracle plant, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I had much it hasn't worked for. I started with tinctures for anxiety, and moved on to salves.
Okay.
And then, of course, now I smoke because
So for
I grow it.
those who don't know, the salve is what is the salve?
Salve is a little bit thicker than lotion. It's kind of more of a petroleum jelly consistency, a little thicker than that. It's really good for joints and aches and
arthritis and other things like that.
So it's a rub on. It's an ointment. Yeah. There you go. Good, man. I've been I want to get into making ointments and stuff like that too, because I have real bad sciatica pain, and I got a lot of people around me that deal with a lot of fucking pain. So I want to step into that game. Maybe you guys can help me out with that one, because I guess it's just beeswax, and
it's a mixture of several different kinds of things like beeswax and coconut oils and everything else, and then you use some different things to scent it and everything and make it smell real good. Or some people will have allergic reactions to that, so then you got to go unscented with it and everything for them.
Okay.
She's made all the different versions of it, so.
Yeah,
so you could do a vegan scents and stuff like that too, right?
He actually has an uncle who had cancer, and I used to make him up batches of it, but he can't stand scents of any kind. So I love it.
Asthma attacks or something if he has a scent. So we used a lot of essential oils at that point and had to back all those off and make a batch just for him. So
nice. That's cool that that you guys do that, because make that like change it up for them, because some people just can't handle the smells, man. They just can't do it. and some people are just like they would prefer it without the smells. Personally, I would prefer without smells. But yeah, that's fucking sick, man. Cool. How long have you guys been growing? You said 3 years.
We'd actually been in the industry, various parts of other people's grows, like just
Okay.
different jobs and stuff. We worked out there out in Colorado professionally.
Okay.
And after a while, with a lot of rich people who had plants that they just hated, like they couldn't stand it. They couldn't stand the plant, the smell, anything, but they were making big bucks off of it. I was like, you know what?
Yeah, those people.
I want a home grow. We also kind of got bashed over the head with prices when we first moved out here because we just got legal, what, 3 years ago?
2 or 3 years ago. And the prices are still outrageous here as far as retail cannabis goes in Missouri. It doesn't even help that you're a patient. You save maybe 10-15% at most, and that's inflated 300% over street price of anything. It's wild out here still. We're waiting for the evolution to actually happen here. So
yeah, like one thing that they did for Washington is that kind of happened too. The prices started going up. They kept it cheap at first, and then they started raising the price, and now the prices have gotten just incredible to where it was kind of weird because even the people on the streets started raising their prices to like extra $5, just trying to get that extra $5 in, right? And I was like, no, that's a bad habit, guys. Like, we can't be doing that shit, man. Because number one, it's not about the money. Number one, it's about the plant. It's about the plant. And when people, like you just said, got into it because they're just trying to get money, those are the people that are going to come up with bullshit product because it's not going. There's no passion behind it. If you don't have the passion behind it and you don't got love for this plant and what it does and what medicine that it can do for people, then you're just going to be coming out with booth, man. And some people they're perfectly happy with just selling booth and getting the money, right? But that's why the home grow, the home grower is so important. That way we can keep this artisan going. This just not being, what is it called? Tainted by money?
Commercial.
Yeah, commercialized. Yeah. Well, and then on top of it, I do have like a thought about that too, because at one point, if we wanted to start, we would want to move commercially. Like if you really wanted to go big, but you wouldn't want to do it exactly commercially. Like you would want to do it homegrown, but commercial, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, but then the way they've set everything up, it almost has to be that guy that we're talking about because, with it still being federally illegal and everything, you can't get loans, you can't do anything to start your own business. And it just becomes the rich guy gets richer because he has the money and the capital to move forward on everything. That's why, we were really excited about the small business going to come out for Missouri, but those kind of got tainted and got a little weird too whenever they got they went to preferential places and things that it got very political very quick. And
are they expensive license over there? Are the licenses like really expensive?
For like a commercial, it's grossly expensive. I mean, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars just to apply for licensing.
Yeah.
And we were looking at the micro business license, and those at least were like $2,500, $3,000, something like that to apply. But you guys didn't win the lottery on it.
Unlike Colorado,
See that. Missouri didn't half step when they came in, man. They skyrocketed prices immediately when they opened up retail marijuana, and then whenever it went even further into it being recreational, the price hike went up from astronomical to unseen before out here. If you were to actually like walk into a dispensary and buy decent weed, you're going to pay $3.80 an ounce out here for it. It's wild.
Fuck.
$3.80 is going to be the patient price because you said the most important thing is the plant, and the second most important thing has to be the patient, right?
Like, the patient. Yeah,
taxing them to death. It's wild.
Yeah, and this is one thing that I just found is ridiculous, and how the companies that get in here just see that it's $300 or like $2,200 a pound. They just think about the pounds, like how much money can I get out of this pound? They don't think, hey, like, should it be good at least? Fucking, some of the shit. If you're going to be charging me that kind of fucking money, I want that shit to blow my fucking head off my fucking shoulders. Like, please, like, don't.
Packaged, and you don't even get to see exactly what
yeah. Crazy. We deal with that here in Washington. That's why what I want is everybody to model after Oregon. Have you guys ever been to Oregon?
I have not.
Oh man, make a trip, please make a trip. Go to Oregon, anywhere in Oregon, the east side or the west side. You can go anywhere in there, but those dispensaries, they let you smell the bud before you buy it. So it is.
That's how it was in Colorado. She was a bud tender in Colorado, and it was, big jar, open the lid, take a whiff, check it out. And
that was the best job ever. They paid me to take tests, and I got to walk out with whatever I tested on for $1. I tried
beautiful.
all of it. The Willie's reserved, every single one of them.
Nice.
If I could afford it, it'd be Willie's all the time. But
yeah, Colorado didn't go to free packaging until COVID came along, and that kind of changed the game for them because everything had to be more hygienic. And
exactly.
Yeah. They told us over in Oregon, they were just like, well, you can't smell the bud. But like they kept it the way that they still do, to where you could see the buds at least, like way better. Because over here in Washington, they kind of try to do that too, to where they're keep the packaging. Like one thing that I've noticed in the whole retail cannabis community or fucking business industry is the lack of pre-roll, a lack of quality of a pre-roll. Like some fucking asshole came around here and said that a pre-roll can be cut, and now they're just throwing a bunch of cut in the pre-rolls, and it makes me irate. Don't get me started.
Pre-roll a year or two back, we were up with my parents running around.
Oh my gosh.
And her and my mom both got like almost violently ill and headaches and crazy off of some trash pre-roll that we ended up paying almost $20 for. And,
yeah.
Worst. It was my worst reaction to anything. It was one of those to where you're just sitting there like, oh, what the heck did I just put? And that was only one head. It wasn't even like we had sat there and smoked the whole thing. Me and her literally just took one head, and we were like, okay. Now that I've been growing, I kind of can look at it and be like, oh, okay, so it wasn't flushed. It was some stuff going on here. It was probably a whole bunch of trim, which will also give you a headache if there's any stems in there. Like it's seeds. That's the fun.
So you worked at a place, a grow place where they had you trimming, right?
Oh yeah.
And so when you're trimming, did they ever have you put the buds over on the side that are going to go into the fucking pre-rolls that weren't trimmed all the way? Like that's how I know that they put the trim in there. And it's just
generally the way we would see it done is like you trim it all down. It all goes because when I first met her before we got married, I was working at the time in Colorado Springs, and you trim down, it all goes over there. And what they do is they make those at the dispensary with whatever's left at the bottom of that jar. So they'll just take all the stuff that everybody's dug through and everything, and they pull that dust out at the bottom and pack it into pre-rolls. Generally is what happens.
The shape.
Dry too. It's been in the jar for however long. It's not very well sealed jars because it's more for display purposes.
And that's one thing is I haven't understand. I want to get to the bottom of this and figure out where this went wrong in this whole cycle of who sat there and said that a joint is lesser, because it's lesser. That's the only reason why they would throw cut in it, is because they think of it as a lesser joint, or that they can get away with it, or whatever, because they would never put that shit in a bowl into like something that they're gonna give there.
You can't see it. It's already packed in the cone. There, you're getting unknown at that point. And people don't want to spend the time to break down real buds and process rolls. It's always kind of an afterthought of, we can take this scrap and turn it into something and make money off. Yeah.
To me, it sounds like a tactic from the tobacco company. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's what that sounds like. And I'm done with that fucking bullshit. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
But that's why with me, I put nothing but flour in my pre-rolls. If you get a pre-roll from me, it is 100% fucking flour. And
Colorado, you can ask them if it's made out of pre-rolled and bud or bud.
Yeah, but they
actual buds.
I mean, I always ask them.
Well, in Colorado, like I said, they will tell you. They have two different sets of it, and I have rolled pre-rolls in the back. So yes, they have two different sets. It's like a keef one and a regular one, and the cheaper you go, the more you're probably getting trim, because set up to the bottom shelf to top shelf. That's all set up. The bottom of the plant is the bottom shelf. The middle of the plant is the middle shelf. The top of the plant is the top shelf. So being a grower, I do keep some of my leafy, stuff on the bottom and stuff. It's more just because I like to have the extra. Leaves store THC and stuff, and I don't want to take it all off. It just depends on who you are, how much you defoliate or cut the leaves off the plant. I try to do as very little as possible.
Yeah. Nice.
Enough to where the light through. So.
Huh. Yeah, I do that too. I take off as much as I can off the bottom so that like all the light goes to the colas. That's all I'm trying to go for is colas. I don't even want no popcorn buds, but it happens sometimes. So I saw on there that your first live was like December 4th. Was that your first time going
Yes.
live?
Oh my gosh. Like, I don't I don't know. I don't even think it worked out right, truthfully.
Well, I went back and I looked at it, and I thought that you did a really good job. You explained enough to where I got a lot of information out of that to where I could, for the interview, to where I could ask you stuff off of that one video. So I think you did very good.
It's kind of nerve-wracking to trying to act like you're a content creator because, none of us really know how to act on camera. So.
Yeah, that's why with me, I've just been freestyling it. I just be me, and if people want to watch, they want to watch. If not, then whatever. I'm cool with that too. Right. So I just freestyle it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the CannaConvos, or what is it called?
CannaConvos.
CannaConvos. Okay, is that Mo short for something?
Missouri.
Okay. So Missouri CannaConvos. Yeah. Pretty easy.
The Ozarks.
It's what?
It's on the Lake of the Ozarks. It's at
at the Regalia Hotel right down in Osage Beach, Missouri, which is right on the dam down at the Lake of the Ozarks there.
And It's a free event. And I mean, you don't even have to bring nothing. You can walk around and you do one lap and you are so high you're touching the sky.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Dirty because that last picture I took of my jars was like, they were like, "Did you clean your phone?" I was like, "No, that's just how foggy it was."
Just the haze.
That's how much it smoked.
It was just that smoky up in there. So I saw that it's a free event. That's so cool that it's free, because and you're giving out samples too, right? Yeah. So somebody who goes there for free and you get a bunch of samples and you get mad stoned. I'm not seeing anything wrong with this festival. Now, what I wanted to bring up is I personally have never been to a festival before. Is there anything that newbie should know about festivals?
Well, unfortunately,
take extra of everything. Like, I ran out of all my stuff so quickly.
Okay.
That's the thing. And you have to buy a table. So just make sure you fill it. Whatever you got to do to fill it, but don't lose space on it. It's just more of getting your name out there, and you don't want to waste that. And we ran out of stickers, ran out of shirts, we ran out of stuff.
What do you mean by buy a table? Do you mean buy a spot?
At these events, you have to buy a table. Us and Lockhart Farms usually do a booth together because he does a wide booth, and we'll do a table, he'll do a table, and it allows us to split the cost on it, of course. And but it's really. Unfortunately, it does cost a little bit to do them, but it's a really good way to network and get your name out there. So,
yeah, it seems like everybody's gonna want to come get free weed, so you should be getting a lot of stuff, like a lot of traffic through there.
Yeah, one of them during 4th of July weekend. So down the Lake of the Ozarks, naturally, there's 1 million people down there just for being a lake, and then they added that CannaConvos event into it. That was one of the wildest events we have ever done. They said nearly 9,000 people ran in and out of that hotel that day. It was
ended with
they need to give you a little revenue out of that because you brought a lot of people in and shit.
Yeah, and we ended with a pool party with dab stars.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah, so it was a good night. It was a good day, and it was exhausting though. I think we spent 2 weeks recuperating.
Really?
Yeah, we figured it was going to be a little more, I don't want to say laid back, but it was because so many people came, there was no time to walk away from your table. You had to be there, shaking the hands and kissing the babies type thing, doing the thing. And it was a really good time, but after a 8-hour day, your feet are tired. And then also that one event, that room isn't air conditioned very well. So 110 outside. outside, and it was like 98 in the room for the entire day in there. It was crazy hot, and then all the people moving through. It was rough, but it was a really good time. The pool was
Yeah,
already sealed up to make it worth it. So
it's very fulfilling though,
oh
right?
yeah.
It's worth it. It's worth it. Nice. Hell yeah, guys. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that one of these days. I'm gonna remember to double up, bring way more than I think I would need, and some slaps, right? So you guys got rid of your slaps pretty quick, I'd imagine.
So much. We were there at the end. Like I even kept my last shirt, and I like was all like, no, I'm not. Just so I had something to put there.
You're like, this is for display.
Yeah,
This is display.
just look pretty, right? I'm like, get a hold.
Or like the last people walk in and there's nothing left on your table, and you're just like, man, you got to be here next year. That's what I would say.
It was wild.
Yeah, you better get your patcher next year, baby, if you want it. So every year it's getting bigger and bigger, right?
Like I said before, they do them every 3 months. It actually almost works perfectly on a crop rotation.
Oh,
And
yeah.
months here, they do it down there at the Lake of the Ozarks at the same hotel. Obviously, the ones in the summer are bigger than the ones in the winter because we just did one in November, and it wasn't near as big. Like we actually had time to get lunch during the day and everything else. The coolest thing I would say about the whole thing is, so like they did the cannabis clubs in Colorado, and we tried all those, but it got kind of weird because we had to pay prices to get indoors, and then use their apparatuses to smoke out of and everything, or pay them to roll joints for you, or whatever was going on in those clubs. This hotel, you walk in and you can belly up to the bar and roll a joint on the bar, order a beer, and just sit there and chop it up with your friends. It's like the first night we went to the first one, I was just so taken back by just sitting there like, are we really doing this? We're just firing up.
Yeah.
Dude was walking around with the 3-foot glass bong and like nothing was going on. It was crazy, but once you get past the initial shock of it, it's a great time.
Yeah, so it's a great time to be alive, right? When we get to walk around with Bud. Like, I still got to say that I feel, I'm very happy that we get to do this, but I also feel a little bad too because there are still some people that are getting arrested for all of this plant that we're just smoking, man. It's just a fucking plant, dude. And these people are still
here. They were still getting charged. It's like, it was crazy how fast I looked at a prosecutor and told him, I was like, why are you being so hard on this? You know it's going to be legal within the next year. And he looked at me and said, Ashley, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, no. The ones that
I thought of, like, can you put that on a greeting card? How's the future look now?
Like, yeah. What about now, huh? So yeah, I saw that you were CEO there for a while, huh?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I worked at a correctional facility in Colorado, a state prison. It was a minimum prison. It was a men's prison because I was not going to deal with the other choice.
Yeah. So I wanted to tell you a little story. One time, because I've been locked up many times. I went through the system before I got my life changed, and now I'm all legit and everything. And now that part of my life is behind me, right? But I remember seeing a fresh new CEO, female CEO that came in, and she was so sweet, so cool, but she would want to try to help everybody, and she would want to try to get, their new pair of slippers or whatever, and these people just kept bugging her, and they just kept bugging her and kept fucking with her, and I was like, guys, like, leave her alone, man. Hey. And the next time I saw her, like 6 months later, I saw her, she was hard as a rock. Like, she did not take no shit from nobody. She didn't even recognize me. She was so fucking mean. And I was just like, you see, I knew that was going to happen. You push somebody too hard, that kind of shit's going to happen, man.
See, and it was really weird because truthfully, for one, I still have a lot of friends who work there who have now like moved to the police or and stuff, and they're still on my Facebook, and I find it funny because I know that they're like checking out my stories. I'm over here like, smoke, come on.
Yeah.
Posting their uniforms. I run into them every once in a while, and I always tell them, I'm like, remember when we worked together? That's a bond, man.
Like, yeah, that's a bond that we can't break, man. And you know what? I gotta say, man, it's definitely a job that you know, you guys don't get enough appreciation. You guys gotta put up with a lot of crazy shit. You know, there's a lot of motherfuckers who are angry at the world, you know, and so they take it out on everything. And you know, it's a crazy job, but I'm so happy that you got to move on to just smoking weed, you know, and dealing with bud and shit. Because now you don't have to deal with those fucking people. You don't have to do this shit. What's up?
I
But
was
yeah,
so just not wanting to be there. It really had nothing to do with either which way. Ironically, with my childhood stuff, it just kind of worked out that where the environment wasn't that bad, other than the fact every day I would go to work and those bars would shut and stuff, and I'd be like, I spent my whole childhood like flirting with this line, but
yeah.
not there, and now I'm there. Is this where I want to be? And it just, I would look down the tunnel and see, like, you could see your future, and you know, either you're going to be a washout or you're going to like
Go all
be
the
in the
way.
same thing every single, and I just couldn't do it. I was like, you know, I just did not want to be in a prison environment of it.
And I told her right out the gate, I spent my whole life trying to avoid that place. There is no way you could get me to willingly walk in the door. There's no way.
Yeah, you're right, man. I thought for a second there, it crossed my mind to try to go into social justice or something to try to help the kids that are going through the same shit that I went through. Now, and I'm seeing these kids on the streets going through the same shit that I went through, and I know what's going through their head. I know how you know, how their mind works and everything, but I just can't go back and be in, you know, to that life. I have to leave it behind, you know. So I want to help everybody out there. So anybody who asks me for advice, I definitely give it to them, you know. But I can't save everybody. It's just I can barely save myself nowadays, so I got to stick to myself. Anyways. Anyway, so I was looking on there. How did your Gorilla Glue? One of your Gorilla Glues died, right?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it didn't die, but I think it was turning. I stressed them both out, not purposely, obviously, but
What
I kind of was looking.
happened?
I'm like, they all start growing one leaf, and I'm like, okay, this is new, you know. And that's how we discover everything, right? When
Yeah.
something happens, okay, that's what that did. But one of them I went ahead and pulled because I was afraid it was hermaphroditing or turning male. And I kind of
Okay.
pulled it when it really just kept looking weird to me. The other one started coming back. It started getting my 3 leaves, 4 leaves. Now it's up to 5 leaves. And I'm like, okay, it's looking good. Now it's getting ready to crop. And it's got some pretty decent sized buds on it. I'm pretty proud of her. The other one I'm still mourning.
Yeah, essentially what happened is we veg in a tent and then bloom in a room. So
Okay.
they got they got around our deep chunk plants, which are big, wide girls, and they crowded those two. And the one just went completely one leafed out and got a little wild. The other one we had to, you know, coax back, but she's doing great now.
It
So
started re-vegging on it.
what was that?
Did it start re-vegging? Is that why the one leaf came out and
Um,
shit?
that's just the typical sign of high stress.
Yeah.
But it did start trying to develop and do weird things. Like the other one was still vegging, but it was 3-leafing and doing some weird stuff as
Yeah.
well. One of them was just we couldn't tell if it was going to be able to bounce back or if it was going to, you know, start trying to bananas and get weird. And yeah, so
Basically, we were kind of looking at it thinking, the deep chunk sour diesel, it's a cross between grape ape and sour diesel, and she likes to grow tall. She grows dense and everything, awesome plants. I have nothing bad to say about her. She's one of my favorite strains. She's my oldest strain. But the Gorilla Glue, they like to be short and bushy. She does
Yeah.
not like to grow very tall. She's just short and bushy, and she likes to have her space. She's very much a drama queen. Like, of all my plants, if I'm even 10 minutes behind watering her, she is over there like leaf spinach looking. You're sitting there like, are you serious? And then you water, 2 hours later you pop back, she's happy as can be. But this time she got overcrowded. The deep chunks,
Yeah.
nope.
She didn't like all the other plants in there,
No,
huh?
she definitely, that was why we were kind of we were excited, because I've been growing intense for a long time with you know, veg in one side, then had a whole nother tent for my bloom and stuff. And I've been working with that. And my biggest problem is I always grow them too tall. Like they like to grow, and I like to just give them space. I'm like, oh, you want to grow bigger? That's okay. So
Yeah.
basically,
No, I have that same thing. My plants grow really fucking big too. So I have that same problem. And that's why I only do 3 plants at a time, because they grow so big and they take up the whole plant. And then there's no room for me to get into water. And that's so that's what, yeah, that's something that I can do.
For the first half of flowering, you know, because they're trying to get too tall on me, and then I have to go back in and tie them all up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the buds get too heavy and they start falling over.
Yep.
I
can't wait for. I got a net scrog for them, so when they do that, now that I'm out of the tent, it's easier to scrog them and get them in a place to where when they start laying over, they're like, oh, thank goodness.
You guys are growing in a room, you said, for flower, right?
Yes.
Have you guys tried the or heard of the umbrella trellis?
No.
All right. Cool. This is a new product that this guy made. He has sent me one over. I just haven't had the time to set it up, and I'm missing a thing. But it's an umbrella that is modified as a trellis, so you can put a stick on it, and it keeps the plant nice and up, right? But you're able to move it out. You're able to move it around and all this stuff. It's an ingenious product. I really suggest you guys go and check out the umbrella trellis. Seed Link right here. He knows about the the umbrella trellis. Some people don't like it. Some people like it. I like it personally. I think it works really great. So you guys can check that out. One of the owner, the maker, the inventor, he's on here as umbrella trellis. Joe, you should hit him up, tell him you're thinking about his product or whatever. He might send one over for you guys to check out. But yeah, go check that product out. I think it'll be really good for you.
Yeah.
So you said you guys have only been growing yourselves for a couple years, right?
3 years.
3 years. Was it hard to find all the information to start growing for yourselves, or did you guys already know what you were gonna know what you were about to do?
Set up quite a few grows for other people, so he knew how to on a bigger scale. I, however, had worked around other people's plants and, got paid to work around other people's plants. So I knew everything except for, the cloning and stuff, because professionals tend to keep that as their trade secret.
Yeah.
Things really like you back there learning that. But I mean, he has a 99.9% cloning rate. So it worked out well.
So working, when I worked as a trimmer when me and her first started dating, I was in a large commercial grow, and I just kind of soaked it all in as a sponge. I can't help but just pay attention to how things work. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
how they had the lights and the ventilation and everything going, and the cycles of what was happening. And right after that, a real good friend of mine that I lived with at the time, he started growing. And me and him started working on it together, and, going through the Weed Bible and doing everything else, research on the internet and everything you can do to figure it all out. And me and him did that for quite a while. And then when me and her finally were financially able to do everything, I already had, you need cloud line fans, you need lights, you need timers, you need this and that and the other, and we're going to do this, and we got to be on an 18.6 and a 12.12, and, I like these nutrients, and, we got pH water, and I had already soaked as much of it in. And the best thing that happened to me out of all of that is that place I worked in Colorado Springs. One of the guys I worked with, there's not a good way to say this, he was a bit of an alcoholic, and he would come in drunk sometimes to do stuff, and he asked me one day and showed me how to clone, because he was scared he was going to cut himself with the razor blades and everything, because he was completely smashed. So he sat there for 40 minutes and taught me how to clone, and I cloned hundreds of plants that day. And ever since then, I've seen that process and was like, okay, cool, lock that in, I got it. And we've been able to, have a rotation and everything else, which is one of the part I see a lot of people, struggle with whenever they first start growing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, man. That's sick that you had the building blocks. You already knew what to do. So when it came time for you to do it, put it together real quick. And it would have been easier for you because you were doing it on a smaller scale, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, and then, of course, there's the interesting part. So he builds everything, and then I grow them. Other than the
Yeah, I
clothes.
was good. I was about to ask that. So you build everything. Building commercial is a skill. So ever since I became a homeowner, I'm starting to do like, irrigation and wiring up things, and I'm starting to learn how to do this stuff. And now I'm starting to want to put it towards the commercial. I'm like, oh shit, man, I could put some irrigation together, wire some pumps up, everything. Now I could do it. So I put a lot of a lot of props to you. Sorry, I forgot the other word. What were you gonna say, Ashley?
Oh shoot, I
No,
don't
you
remember. Uh,
forgot. Okay,
I,
you said something about it was a good thing.
oh yeah, it was just a really good thing that he set that up, and I was like, you know what, I want to grow because I'd been wanting to grow out in Colorado for a while, but just was never in a position to be able to do so responsibly. I had younger kids for one. I was not. Oh no, I wasn't even going to try that noise. But I was in a position, and we finally got out here, and we were in a position. I've had indoor, and we threw some outside because I can't let anything die. So we threw 3 or 4 of them outside to see how they would do over the summer. And I mean, they did great. I love the soil out here.
It's worked out well for us because the biggest thing that happened from working in the commercial side of things, I figured out I had allergies.
Okay.
So like I have bad skin allergies and then asthma due to allergies when it comes to dealing with plants. That's why I can deal with a plant in early veg when I'm taking clones and topping and doing everything. But if I go in a flower room, I start breaking out in hives. I'll have an asthma attack. It's worked out real well where I know how everything is supposed to be set up and how it's all supposed to go, and then she executes for me or for us.
Yeah.
When I can't do it anymore. So
You guys sound like a really good team. Good job. Congratulations. You guys found a good partner to where you can do that. Me and my wife were doing that at first, and then I kind of took over, and yeah, I took over and started going a little bit too crazy there.
Well,
Which I need to get my wife back into it.
well, and he pops in when he can. He had work, so obviously, and I'm here, and I have a lot more time with boys being older and stuff in between errands and everything, to where I can go down there and do a bunch of stuff. But really, it just kind of works out to where, I mean, he does this, I do that, and usually when our biggest issue is the fact I don't like to throw plants away. Like, even if it's struggling, I'll struggle it all the way till the end, which is not necessarily a good thing. I'm wasting nutrients and water and effort and space. I could be
No,
using.
I've done that too. I used to do that a lot where the runt, I would never give up on it. And I would baby it a little bit more and, really start to go at it. And there's been a few times where that runt has came back and surprised the shit out of me. Has made me be like, oh, like that's why I don't give up on these plants, because they could be something. You know, there's certain things that just happen to one plant that won't happen to the other, like the rest of them. The rest of them will be looking beautiful, but you got that little one that's the runt. And I feel you. I can't get rid of it either. Nowadays, it's getting easier. I do have to admit, it's been 6 years since I've been growing, so I got like double what you guys got. And I have a perpetual grow. Do you guys have a perpetual grow?
what do you mean perpetual?
Where you got all stages. You got something in clone, you got something in veg, you got something in
Oh,
flower, you got something hanging at the same time.
there are times in between veg and bloom that we don't have clones.
Yeah.
It's when we move the clones into veg and the veg into bloom, and we let them we get a little bit of time underneath the lights. And the first topping is when we take the clones the next time. So there's just a little bit of gap there, but that's about the only difference.
But yeah, you guys got it going at the same time. Shit, I forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, that's cool. Hell yeah. Oh, yeah, not giving up on them. So now that I have so much stuff going on, I won't take so much time with the run. I've pulled 2, 3 runs before, and it gets harder. I mean, it gets easier to do it, but it was hard at first to pull
Yeah.
that run.
Commercial part of me that I'll look at a clone and be like, oh hell no, you gotta go, and I start just knocking them out because I agree with her. I don't want to waste all my nutrients. I don't want to waste my time on a plant that's not going to yield. We're not doing this as a science project. We know what's going on, right? So you don't. there's no point in it anymore. And that was kind of the good thing about being in the commercial side. You don't get so attached to them because in 60 days I'm cutting these things anyway, right? Like, so
Yeah.
it's gone.
Well, and
Yeah. That's
cloning that's when I said I had too many. It's really, I'd be like, okay, let's take 12, just in case some of them die or don't make it, right?
yeah.
But I had that 8x8 tent. So then when they'd all make it, I'd be like, they all were healthy, they all were happy, and I'm like, I'll just keep them all. And so that's where I was throwing them outside when the weather permitted. I'm like, yeah, just put them outside. Hide them from the neighbors.
Yeah. So you guys don't have somebody that you could just give the other plants to?
We've done that a few times. We have done that a few times. We've just been like, hey, you want this? Come get it.
That's what I've been trying to do because I really don't want to kill them. And I'm just like, hey, man, anybody get a hold of me right now and I'll give you this plant. You can have it for free. And I hope that they bring it to flower. Not most people haven't brought them to flower, the ones that have given them.
Well, and at one point we were kind of worried about just giving genetics out. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want everybody to have the same strains you have, or else we're all growing the same thing. So, there, like, if it was outside of the circle of people we knew, we were more okay with giving a clone, a plant to somebody in that area. But me and my friends don't all want to be growing the same plants.
Yeah. So you guys don't want the same stuff. Yeah, a lot of diversity is nice to have in there. Sorry, I got stoned. That joint got me a little stoned there. So the connection, I wanted to bring up how you mentioned that the connection that weed brings to people. Like, it brings people together. You know how there's certain people that we could be on different, like, political views or whatever, and we could all just smoke some fucking weed together and it'll bring us together, Like, I love how bud is just so connecting. There's so many people out there who would just love to smoke a fucking joint with you, you know what I mean? And you go out and just give them a joint too. You don't know I'm here. Boom, here's a joint. Oh, man, what's up? And then they know you as Mr. Feel Good or Mrs. Feel Good. But yeah, I wanted to elaborate on that if you could a little bit more.
I mean, it's such a communal thing. That's why we really like doing those fests and everything, because you really see how many other people, because I don't know how old you are, but I'm old enough to remember it was so taboo that, like, it was like its own secret society, and then all of a sudden you just see everybody come out of the woodwork on this, and you're just like, oh, okay, so there are a lot more people that are like-minded than it appeared in the beginning.
Yeah, this is beautiful. I'm sorry, go for it.
I was going to say, it's always better just to focus on what you guys agree on anyways, and that's always been my prerogative. Why focus on what you don't agree on? Focus on what you do.
Exactly, man. Might as well just connect, right? And that, how you brought a good note on how back in the day it used to be just so taboo. And so I never knew any growers back in the day. I always had weed, but I never knew the growers. Like the grower, like how did this come about? I had so many questions.
Right, there's this one guy, right? Like, I think through my childhood and like it's clear through my 20s, I maybe knew 2 people my entire time that actually grew weed, and one of them was we bought this Phototron thing, and we're gonna grow a plant in it back in like 2001. And then another one, his come to find out, a guy I know's dad had a little weed grow up in the attic of his garage for decades that nobody knew about because he was just growing his own personal, like, 1 or 2 plants up there and keeping himself high without having to worry about anything. And that's literally the only 2 people until I had moved to Colorado and I was in my mid-20s that actually people were growing weed.
That's not my actually my dad's best friend was an outdoor grower.
Ooh.
I never saw brickweed until I came out to Missouri, and this was before it was legal. So I'm like, "Has anybody got anything?" And somebody showed up, and I'm like, "What is that?" They're like, "No, it's really," and I'm like, "Are you sure?" My stuff's always been green or like purple. I've never seen that color.
So you were spoiled. So you had the green stuff before all the brickweed.
No,
I didn't know. I was just like, obviously that's something the doll that knew my dad smoked, but he's a vet. It helped him with his PTSD before they knew what to do for it.
Yeah.
So all I was a kid.
I I will say that, like, growing up smoking swag and smoking brick weed and everything, like, it was the minute I moved to Colorado, and that was like 2011, 2012, around in there, that I moved to Colorado Springs from the Kansas City area here. I've never seen it again. The minute I was there, it was nothing but like the shit we were paying the highest dollar for in Missouri all the time. It was a completely different atmosphere out there. I told a lot of people it was kind of like I went to weed college when I moved to Colorado, because I knew much and I came back with so much more.
Yeah. And then you go back to your old spot and people are just like, you, what are you talking about, chronic? I don't even know what that is. And you're like, yay, it's the new shit, man. I remember back in the day, we always had the brick bud, the seeds. We'd get together and we'd buy a quarter pound for like $200.
That whole corn.
And we'd all get together. Yeah, get together like that. And we'd all get together and we'd have a cleaning party. And we'd all just clean, seeds out. And then we'd roll a bunch of fucking joints and smoke it all in a couple days. And then Chronic came around, and this guy came up, and he was like, look, man, I want to show you real Chronic. And I was like, what's up? He goes, let me stick it to your head. I was like, huh? He was like this, man. Boom, stuck it to my head and just stayed there. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And he picked it off and then put it in a pipe. And it blew my mind. Oh, my God.
I was at a college party in, like, 2000, 2001 in my hometown, and I smoked Sour Diesel. Was the first, like, real chronic ass good fucking weed I'd ever smoked in my life. It had all been like, oh, kind bud then, but there was never a name to it.
Yeah.
The first weed I smoked with the name was Sour Diesel, and from then on, I was then like, I had a hard time going back. It changes everything.
It does, man. It changes everything. You never want to go back to that booth again. Well, and on top of it, I don't want to call it booth because, it's what led us to the chronic, the things that came before. You never want to forget about them. But also, just a couple of days ago, I got some red bud. Somebody brought me some red bud that was not brick. It was not brick and CD, but it was red bud. And I smoked that shit, guys. It got me so old school high. I was so fucking blazed. I couldn't. I stood there and I made a video because I was so fucking high. I wanted people to see how high I was. Like, it's a different high, and that's one thing I want.
To break it down, a swisher and roll it up, right?
Yeah, dude. And so I think we should keep some of that around just in case you want to get a different high. You can smoke some red bud real quick, But yeah, hi again. And what's up, man? Thank you for tapping in. We're talking about old school red bud. This is something I smoked a couple days ago, and it got me incredibly stupid high that I was like tripping because it's a different high than chronic. It's just a different high. But we got A&M I'm sorry, I can't say that damn word. There, Apothecary. There you go. So I wanted to ask about the Grape Island skunk. Is that something that you guys grew from a seed, or did you breed it out, or have you ever bred?
No, actually, I just did clones. I brought clones from Colorado out here and just been cloning since. I wanted something, I knew what it was, and out here you got a lot of, I don't want to call it, I don't know what to call it, Skittles. Just stuff you don't know what it is.
Okay.
And I make sure I knew what I was growing and what it could do to help you, because I have, of course, tried being somebody who didn't smoke for a decent period. Because I smoked when I was a teen, and then I went back to smoking later on after I quit the prison. But I just wanted to get stuff that I knew it was going to do, because nobody likes to be paranoid. Nobody likes that panic attack feeling. It's nice to know what weed you're smoking and what it's supposed to do to you. And everything I have is a grandfather weed. Grape Island skunk is a grandfather weed. I love grandfather weed because you know what it's going to do. It's tried and proven. Any weed out there is just a cross of these.
Yeah.
This is where they all started, and then it crossed down from there. So I do hybrid on all of them. They are either a sativa high or an indica or a 50-50. My Pineapple Express is a 50-50, and as you would expect, it's pretty Bob Marley. You're pretty much chilling.
The Grape Island skunk we looked at was standing in the right place at the right time, and people were taking some cuts.
Okay.
And we actually a couple cuts. So
yeah, somebody's like, can you make me some clones? And we're like, can we get some clones?
Well,
We're
yeah,
like,
you better get some clones for your hard work. I mean, it's only fair, I think, for you to get it one. How long did you keep that alive, or is it still going?
still going. It's getting ready
Still
to
going. So,
drop
ooh,
within the next few weeks.
beautiful. And of course, you took clones of that one too. When you do that, are you starting to see the genetics come out? As in, like when I cloned for a long time, I had this one OG cam, and I started seeing characteristics of the mother and the father coming out of in these clones. So I'd get some clones that were taller. I'd get some clones that were smaller, and that bushed out more, or had bigger leaves, or had skinnier leaves. As this sativa side started kicking out a little bit more than the indica side. Did you guys ever have to
we
deal with that?
we've had it. It seems like Gorilla Glue has kind of done that over time. That is, she keeps on getting a little shorter, a little bushier every time. For the most part, when I clone, I try to make sure I'm taking the clones off of the same kind of phenotype of plant over and over, so it's the same. I don't want to take it off the run. I don't want to take it off. I want the most healthy, best looking one. That's the one I'm taking my cuts off of to make the clone. So I feel like it's kind of repeated the same plant over and over again.
Okay, yeah, you know what? That's what I wasn't doing. I was taking the clones off of all of them. So maybe that's probably why that was happening to me. Interesting.
I the strongest, best looking plant out of them to take the cuts off of. I mean, obviously they all get topped, but the ones I'm keeping are coming off of the best looking one out of all of them, so that I know we're getting the best possible plant.
Nice.
Well, and I have noticed deep chunk sour diesel, and that's the grape ape and the sour diesel. And with the grape, it's the longer it goes, because that's my longest one, and the longer she goes, she's more and more purple every single time.
Ooh.
Like in just a pretty way, but when I first cloned her, yeah, you saw purple, like pops, like little veins and stuff, and maybe purple leaves, but the weed itself is more green. And now she's just more and more purple. It's like, I like to believe it's getting more and more clarity in what she's doing. Like I have seeds in my weed or anything like that, and that's because I like them. I like to have photos so that I can control what they do, and so they know what they're doing. The longer I have a strain, the better she does, because she just knows what she's supposed to do for me.
She is the prettiest plant whenever you start flushing her, because she starts going Technicolor on everything.
Every time.
She has the best looking leaves, and during that part right before harvest and everything, it's probably our best plant that we have.
Yeah, the best colors come out, the more vibrant colors, the purples got to be beautiful. Is it like one of the purple kush, or is it just purple hue?
No, it's
purple hue.
Yeah.
Purple hue. Okay. So yeah, because I had just I had somebody on here, I can't remember. I'm so sorry, I can't remember right now, but she was talking about how the plant was just purple, like, and it was really purple. Mama Kush, there you go. Mama Kush had this purple plant that wasn't a purple hue. It was like the trichomes and everything was purple, and it was an original purple kush, she said. Which I wanted to break that down more, and I wanted to figure that out, because like, if it's purple, how are you going to see when it turns amber? Is it amber gold? Is it amber purple? I'm sorry.
What color are those trichomes turning if they're already purple? Like, what color are you looking for? How do you see the cloudy in that? Like, what's going on?
That's exactly what I was talking about. And she said that it was more of a cloudy purple, and it became a more darker purple later. So it was like something that you just gonna have to keep an eye on, so that you can know the difference when what is the best time to harvest. I personally haven't tried one of those yet. I had a runce that was pretty purple, but it wasn't like that, like purple kush.
Well,
I want to get one of those.
I worked at the dispensary. We had a strain called Blackjack.
Okay.
And it smoked like ass, just to be honest with you. It tasted booty. I didn't like it at all.
It was bootylicious.
It was the prettiest, like almost maroonish purple color. And it sold like you wouldn't believe. We would walk in, like, since I worked at the grow, I would go into the dispensary to get my discount weed, and I'm standing there, I'm just watching 9 people buy this shit, and I bought a bag once just because it looked cool, right? And then I got home and regretted it the whole time, and I'm watching this shit like fly off the shelf. I am a little leery of purple weeds just because, like, either it's really good or it's just not.
Well, it can be a deficiency too. It can be a nutrients deficiency.
Or temperature is known to change
Temperature.
everything too.
Yes, that's what I heard that some people were doing back in the day to manipulate it from being like the real purple kush, and they were just manipulating their temperatures and, you know, the environment to make that purple instead of it coming from the genetics, you know.
So, like, especially
and that's probably
you get those heavy temperature swings, that will cause purple a lot.
yeah. Oh,
You kind of, purple comes from some kind of, it should come from some kind of grape. So if it's not any kind of like grape, like cross,
then it's not it then.
Yeah, it shouldn't be purple.
All right,
or
guys. Well, what's up?
I'm sorry. Or if you're looking at exotic, like Hawaii and places that have fresh running water and do hydroponics, that's when you'll get pretty colors too.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, we're at our 55-minute mark, and we only got an hour. So I wanted to say, is there anybody that you wanted to plug? Did you want to tell everybody where to find you guys?
We're on A&M Apothecary Mo, obviously on here. Lockhart Farms that we do all of our Mo CannaConvos with. Sealed Solventless, my little brother out here. Yeah, we holler at all of them. You can find them all on Instagram. We're all located here in Missouri. If you're in Missouri and seeing this, feel free to hit us up.
Yeah, I try to post every day. I don't make it every day because I am a stoner, but I try to post every day, and I do updates at least weekly because I like to show the differences. So, yeah, plug in and check us out. And thank you so much for inviting us.
Yeah,
we really enjoyed it.
Anytime, guys. As for me, I want to thank everybody out there. Thank you guys so much for tapping in. Dr. Hydro, VIP Plantations, everybody out there, Toasty Mama, all you guys. Thanks so much for tapping in. Make sure to go give A&M follow. So Apothecary. Make sure to show them some love. And you know, I'll probably have you guys on again down the road since this went, you know, so good. I still got a little bit more questions, so I'll save that for part 2. And that'll be like, you know, down the road once I go down with everybody. Also, I wanted to let you guys know right now, and everybody else who's watching, if you have been on an episode of CannaConvos, I'm gonna try to move it to YouTube. So all this is gonna go on my YouTube page. Do you guys have a YouTube page or anything like that?
We don't, but we can make one.
All right. Well, then you better hop on it, get it started. Everybody's moving to YouTube. So, because over there at YouTube, they have this big thing where they don't want us showing plants and they don't want us saying marijuana and cannabis or anything like that because it's going to get you demonetized. But if you're not worried about being demonetized, then you could just do it. So that's what we're going to do. Thank you to all the sponsors, High Photon Flux, HP, High Photon Flux. Make sure to go check out their website. Put in promo code LOCO if you guys want to get a little bit of money off the top, you know, all that. Thanks, guys, once again for coming on. You guys were doing great. Killed it today.
Thanks. And thanks
for
for having us.
All right, guys. We'll see you on the next week. Laters.